drinking this.
Okay, that's okay. I'll take, this is the 145? Yeah, 145? Okay.
Good morning, and welcome to the New York City Council on the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. Please place your phone on silent or vibrate mode. Anytime during this hearing, do not approach the dais. Chair, we are ready to begin.
Webinar has been started.
Okay, go again. Once again, good morning and welcome to the New York City Council on the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. Please place your phone on silent or vibrate mode. Anytime during this hearing, please do not approach the dais. Chair Riley, we are ready to begin.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a meeting of the Subcommittee on Zoning and Franchises. I'm Councilmember Kevin Riley, Chair of the Subcommittee. This morning, I'm joined remotely by Councilmember Moya Abreu, and in the committee room, we're joined by Councilmember Shulman and Salam. Today, we are holding a hearing regarding a proposal known as 145 in Councilmember Salam's district. The proposal consists of 3 land use actions: a zoning map amendment, C250115ZMM, and an amendment to the zoning resolution, N250116ZRM, and a special permit, C250117ZSM. Today's public hearing is for the zoning map amendment and zoning text amendment, but we will discuss the proposal in entirety, including the special permit. We will hold an additional public hearing at a later date regarding the special permit action. I will now go over the hearing procedures. This meeting is being held in hybrid format. Members of the public who wish to testify may testify in person or through Zoom. Members of the public who wish to testify remotely may register by visiting the New York City Council's website at www.council.nyc.gov/landuse to sign up. And for those of you here in person, please see one of the sergeant at arms prepare and submit a speaker's card. Members of the public may also view a live stream broadcast of this meeting at the council's website. When you are called to testify before the subcommittee, if you're joining us remotely, you will remain muted until recognized by myself to speak. When you are recognized, your microphone will be unmuted. We will limit public testimony to 2 minutes per witness. If you have additional testimony that you would like the subcommittee to consider, or if you have written testimony that you would like to submit instead of appearing in person, please email it to landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. Written testimony may be submitted up to 3 days after the hearing is closed. Please indicate the LU number and or the project name in the subject line of your email. We are requesting that the witnesses joining us remotely remain in the meeting until excused by myself, as council members may have questions. Lastly, for everyone attending today's meeting, this is a government proceeding and decorum must be observed at all times. Members of the public are asked not to speak during the meeting unless you are testifying. The witness table is reserved for people who are called to testify, and no video recording or photography is allowed from the witness table. Further, members of the public may not present audio or video recording at testimony, but may submit transcript of such recording to the Sergeant at Arms for inclusion in the hearing record. I will now open the public hearing on preconsidered LUs for ULIP number C250115ZMM and N250116ZRM relating to the 145 rezoning proposal in Central Harlem in Community Board 10 at the corner of Adam Clayton Powell and West 145th Street. A earlier rezoning proposal at this location was withdrawn by the applicant in 2022 due to a lack of support. The applicant has been engaging with the community and Councilmember Salam on the new proposal that we will hear about today. The current proposal approved by the City Plan Commission is for a residential mixed-use development that will have approximately 968 apartments, of which approximately 291 will be affordable under MIH Option 2. Other proposed uses in the development includes community facility space, commercial retail, including a rooftop banquet hall. For anyone wishing to testify regarding this proposal remotely, if you have not already done so, you must register online by visiting the council's website at council.nyc.gov/landuse. For anyone with us in person, please see one of the sergeants at arms to submit a speaker's card. If you would prefer to submit written testimony, you can always do so by emailing it to landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov. I would now like to yield the floor to Councilmember Salam for his opening remarks. Oh, Councilmember Salam, you have opening remarks, or you just have questions?
No opening remarks at this time.
Thank you. I will now call the applicant panel for this proposal, which consists of Bruce Teitelbaum and Patrick Sullivan, and joined online by Lynn Doe, Isaiah King, Tristan Nadal, and Michael Bivas. Council, please administer the affirmation.
Could you please raise your right hand and state your name for your record? Do you swear to tell the...
Hold on.
Well, let me just finish. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in your testimony today? Yes. And in response to council member questions? Yes. Thank you. And I think we're might go back to council member Salam. 1 second.
Sergeant, can we get the applicant panel mics? They don't have mics.
Okay, so while we set up the applicant's table with actual microphones, council member Salam is going to give a opening remarks.
Okay, yep. It's on. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
for non-applicant panel, if you could turn off your mics, thank you.
All right. We're going to yield the floor to Councilmember Salam for his opening remarks, and then we're going to proceed with the applicant panel on their presentation.
Thank you and good morning. When I decided to run for city council to represent my Harlem neighbors and I did so specifically to uplift my community. My community has, for too often, for too long, been ignored, or worse, been vilified, and because of the vilification, they've in fact been denied. I came into office with an eye towards justice, an eye towards collective healing. And in that light, this proposal comes to us at a very pivotal moment. It provides an opportunity to uplift the community by creating quality housing options, local retail, and a much-needed community space, and more. But it also brings into question the question we Harlemites know all too well. The question is, for whom? 3 years ago, is this microphone, is this on? It feels like it's kind of, okay. 3 years ago, an application for the 145 project came before the Harlem community and was disapproved largely because the answer to the question for whom appeared to be not for us. I'm pleased that the applicant took the concerns voiced by my constituents, my constituents much more seriously, and are here today with a new plan. One that I believe can play a vital role in the collective healing process here in Harlem if done right. But the question for whom still reverberates through every discussion and in every town hall we've held. While I am genuinely appreciative of the commitment to instituting a community benefits package, which includes the implementation of a transformative technology center, commercial retail space for local entrepreneurs and small businesses, and a workforce development program, the question for whom still remains. The average household in my district makes under $60,000 a year. How does this project provide opportunity for those of us that don't make enough to afford market rate rent? We in Harlem have seen buildings go up around us, but often not for us. If implemented correctly, 145 could be an opportunity to shift that narrative. This project should be something the Harlem community is very proud of, and one others say and wish they had. I'm committed to this process and to work with the community and this development team to ensure the answers for whom is truly for Harlem. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilmember Salam. We will go back to the panel. So thank you for the viewing public. If you need an accessible version of this presentation, please send an email request to land use testimony at council.nyc.gov. And now the applicant team may begin. I'll just ask that you please reinstate your name and organization for the record. You may begin.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you to Council Subcommittee and Chairman Riley for the opportunity to present today. My name is Bruce Teitelbaum. I'm joined by Patrick Sullivan and my colleagues on Zoom. We're here to share the certified plan for 145 for Harlem, a thoughtful, community-driven proposal that transforms an underutilized block in central Harlem into a mixed-use development anchored by housing, local retail, public space, tremendous opportunity in a transit-rich and culturally significant community. What you're going to see today is the result of years and years of engagement with a broad range of stakeholders, existing Harlem residents, elected officials, and a variety of city agencies. Simply put, this plan delivers on the housing priority of the city and the urgent need to build housing in central Harlem. We have a slide presentation that I've been told the members of the council will help me go through. The first slide, slide 2, is the site context plan. The site spans the entire west side of Lenox Avenue between 144th and 145th Street. It is well located right on the 145th Street subway station 3 line, near Harlem cultural institutions and a stone's throw from the new Universal Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx. Lenox Avenue and 145th Street are very wide streets. Slide 3. The property totals about 68,000 square feet. Roughly 15% of it at 144th and Lenox is zoned R72 with a C1 commercial overlay. The rest is zoned C83, which is outdated and doesn't allow housing. It's meant for auto shops and storage facilities. In fact, the only recent development nearby is a large and unsightly self-storage facility. Slide 4. The proposed C46 zoning is more appropriate for this area, with ample access to subway buses and nearby the Harlem River Drive and Bronx bridges. The C46 with MIH will enable more density to support both market rate and affordable housing. Under the C46 allowable floor area ratios, FAR, are for residential up to 12 with MIH, community facility 10, and commercial 3.4. In contrast, the current zoning allows no residential development on most of the site and only 40,000 square feet on the R72 section with absolutely no affordable housing requirement. Slide 5. Currently, the site has low density, rundown retail buildings, one closed and one operating gas station, and a vacant corner lot. More importantly, there are no existing residential uses on the site. Slide 6. To redevelop this site, there are 4 land use actions that are proposed. 1, zoning map amendment, change the zoning from C83 and R72 C14 to C46. Zoning text amendment, to add the area to the mandatory inclusional housing MIH program. Special permit allowing a rooftop gathering space in the Lenox Avenue Tower. Certification to approve 2 curb cuts on 144th Street, one for loading and one for an underground parking. By removing 10 curb cuts on 145th Street, we are improving traffic flow and pedestrian safety. Slide 7. This is a project overview which gives you a good idea of what we're trying to accomplish here. 145 is a transformative 940,000 square foot mixed-use development. It includes 968 residential units with up to 30% set aside as permanently affordable across a range of income levels and emphasizes family-size units with up to 30% for 2 and 3 size bedrooms. We've dedicated 23,000 square feet to create a state-of-the-art community center, which will include an 8,200 square foot exterior space. There will be a 200-person gathering space or venue as well, and the plan includes 30,000 square feet of retail, prioritizing fresh food grocer, local businesses, below-grade parking, and improvements to the Charles Young Playground, delivering long-term benefits to the Harlem community, aligning with the broader efforts to revitalize the area. Slide 8. As the chairman initially mentioned, we have been at this before, so this compares what we did previously to the certified plan now. Councilman Salam referenced that as well. This slide compares the 21 certified application with the current certified plan. The updated plan still covers 940,000 gross square feet, but it improves significantly on providing community benefits and housing. We have increased the total residential units from 866 to 968, adding over 100 new homes. The number of permanently affordable units has grown from 261 to 291, while maintaining deep affordability across a range of MIA bands. This plan has no museum, and this plan has no office space. The plan also includes a 23,000 square foot community facility that we call TN45, a Technovation Center and CBO hub that includes an 8,000 square foot outdoor space. We've expanded the family size housing up to 30% of all units being 2 and 3 bedrooms, which is double or almost double the typical ratio you see in new developments. The project maintains below-grade parking, even though we're not required to do so, and the 200-person gathering space remains. We've made significant changes to the facade and to the design of both buildings. Slide 9 is a visual breakdown of how the program elements are distributed throughout the building. Let me put my glasses on so I can see that. So as you see, well, I'll look here. When you go to the top of the building, we have in blue the gathering space, the 200 venue gathering space. Beneath there, you see in yellow 968 residential units. Beneath that, in orange or red, 33,000 square feet of retail and commercial space. Beneath that, you have the 23,000 square foot community center, and then, of course, the 40 parking spaces below grade. We're now at slide 10, I think a significant slide, and I think this is important to put this in context. This project, 145, will deliver over 40% of all of the affordable housing that's been built in CB10 in the past 10 years that have been subsidized by HPD. Slide 11 is our tech center. This will be the cornerstone of education, workforce development and training, and creativity for Harlem residents, especially for youth and younger people. It will be a safe and welcoming place for the entire community that will foster and cultivate excellence and expand and enhance opportunity in emerging fields. Slide 12. 145 is designed with a strong focus on sustainability and resilience. We are building the first geothermal green energy district in New York and perhaps in America to make Central Harlem cleaner, healthier, and improve the well-being of existing residents by drastically reducing toxic carbon emissions and other environmental hazards. We're going to use Energy Star appliances, all-electric systems, EV-ready infrastructure, and rooftop solar. To manage water, we've included green roofs, stormwater controls, low-flow fixtures, and we're also supporting commercial composting, providing backup power, and ensuring flood resilience by elevating critical systems. Finally, we're going to be using low-emission materials to ensure a healthy indoor environment. In sum, 145 is not just another housing development. It is a significant and a serious community investment. This plan reflects years and years of dialogue with a broad range of community stakeholders, lots of Harlem residents, community leaders, and each one of the elected officials. It replaces an outdated land use with forward-thinking, inclusive vision that brings nearly 1,000 new homes, including 291 permanently affordable units, to a transit-rich site that currently has absolutely no housing. It will create over 1,200 higher-paying permanent temporary jobs and lead to new careers in emerging high-paying industries. This plan delivers real benefits: family-sized units, a youth-focused tech center, a robust community benefits agreement, fresh fruit access, public space and infrastructure improvements, and best-in-class sustainability. We have listened, we have improved, and we have responded, as Councilman Salam mentioned, and I appreciate that. And now, we respectfully ask the City Council to support this project, help us bring meaningful, lasting change to Harlem, especially at this critical time as our city and Central Harlem face an exigent housing crisis. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Bruce. Just going to ask a few questions, then I'm going to turn the floor over to Councilmember Salam. So, before I begin, we've also been joined by Councilmember Hanks. It's my understanding that your team has proposed an enhanced affordability plan for this site that will provide more affordable housing and spoken about the plan to the community. This alternative plan would include one market rate building with MIH apartments and one 100% affordable building that will require HPD financing. You did not present that alternative plan today. Why is that? And are you no longer considering a plan that will provide more affordable housing on this site?
So the plan we're presenting today, as you know, is the approved certified plan that was supported unanimously by the City Planning Commission. So that's the plan that we're talking about. However, you correctly said that we have committed from the beginning, when we started this project again 3 years ago, and I had this conversation with Councilman Salam right at the outset. We are committed to doing what we can to build as much affordable housing as possible under the circumstances. To that end, I have signed an MOU with the Manhattan Borough President's Office that obligates me to continue my conversations with HPD, state officials, and anyone that can provide additional support that would enable us to build more affordable housing, and that's our commitment.
The community board raised concerns about the height of the proposed buildings, which are much higher than the tallest buildings nearby. Can you explain why you chose a C4-6 zoning district and why such high buildings are appropriate in this part of Harlem?
Right, so the buildings are somewhat higher than surrounding buildings, but not really out of context. There are buildings within 2 or 3 or 4 blocks from our site that are nearly as tall as we are. But frankly, we're in the middle of the housing crisis. And people, I do think, understand that massing and the height of a building like this is important so we can include more affordable housing and more amenities in the building. And I think that's what this is a function of. But we're very conscious of the community. We're conscious of context. We think, and we brought in a world-class architect to develop a spectacular vision that I think is contextual. I think it fits neatly and nicely into the community, but I also think it checks the boxes that are important. The priority, and among that, is building more housing.
I know in your presentation you stated that it includes 968 residential units. Do you have a breakdown on the units sizes?
Yes, I can get you with specificity to that, but right now, off the top of my head, The 2 and 3 bedroom or family size units, the target there is 30% of the total number of units in the building. The remainder will be 1 bedroom and studios. I'll get to the exact breakdown at some point if you'd like.
And I just want to stay consistent. I'm not really a big fan of studios. I would prefer 1 bedroom apartments. I don't think they're conducive to families that are trying to raise their loved ones. So just want to stay consistent, Bruce.
I appreciate. I just want to note that we did also increase the number of we reduced the number of studios, increased the number of 1 bedrooms, drastically increased the number of 2 and 3 bedrooms, and we did that specifically in response to Councilman Salam's concerns and the things we heard in the community.
Thank you
We
for
have
that.
adjusted it upwards, but I hear you.
Thank you. Why do you need a special permit to have an event space at the top of the building, and how will this space serve the community? Will this space be accessible year-round, and will there be a fee to use it?
So I'm going to defer on the first part of that to my counsel. I believe that with the changes in the city of Yes, well, I'll let you answer the question so I don't make a mistake.
Sure. This is Patrick Sullivan from Kramer Levin. We're land use counsel to the applicant. The special permit is needed to mask the building as a tower. The heightened setback rules that are applicable here don't allow a tower form, a tower massing where you have a commercial space in the tower portion. So in order to have this space at the top of the building and to have it classified as a commercial space, that would kick us out of being able to use the tower regulations.
Thank you, Patrick. And throughout the EULA process, the community has been concerned about the brownfield cleanup. How are you addressing this concern, and what are you doing to make these buildings more resilient and have a smaller carbon footprint?
Yeah, so it's a great question. We're really proud about the sustainability and the resilient element of this building. We are proposing to build the first green energy district in Harlem. It certainly would be the first green energy district in the city of New York, and as I said in my testimony, I believe the country. We are going to be using the highest elements to ensure that the building is most resilient, most sustainable.
Bruce, can you explain what a green energy district is?
Sure. So green energy districts are fairly commonplace now in Asia and parts of Europe. They don't exist in this country except commercially. A green energy district is when you have at least, it has to be more than 1 building, so a series of buildings in a geographically defined area that are powered primarily, if not exclusively, by green energy technology. So in this case, what we want to do, given this footprint is so large and we have such a big project, that would qualify in and itself as a district. But I've been in discussions with the NYCHA folks behind me. I've been in discussion with folks, and there's someone here from Esplanade Gardens, about creating a true district across the boundary lines from where we are to have those buildings powered by green energy. Right now, they're powered by oil and by gas. So in other parts of the world, as I said, in Europe, in Asia, this is commonplace at this point, where you have series of buildings and thousands of people that get their energy needs met by green energy. We can do this in Harlem, we can do this in the city, and we can certainly do it in our building. Our hope is we can expand this district-wide and really create history in Harlem, leading the way to green energy future in the city of New York.
Thank you. And just one more question. The commercial commercial businesses that are already there, are all of them coming back or just a percentage of them?
So right now, there were just a couple, I think, of existing businesses. We've spoken to several. We've invited them back. We've told them that once we're finished, if they'd like to come back, please do. But I think it's important you mention that point. This is embedded in the Community Benefits Agreement. It's something that the local elected officials were very concerned about. Councilman Salam and I spoke about this. Currently, or at least when we got involved with this project, there wasn't a single business, not one, where the owner of that business was a resident of Harlem. Every business there, and I think there were 14 or 15 of them, were people who lived outside of Harlem. Our commitment under our benefits agreement is to change that, is to work with local business leaders, civic, religious leaders, and elected officials to ensure that young entrepreneurs in Harlem have an opportunity to actually not just work at a store, which is great, but to actually own a store, build wealth, create wealth, and keep it in the community. So we have spoken to some of the establishments that are there. Some might want to come back. We're looking to create an upgraded and better retail environment in the community, fresh food, no big box stores, things of that sort.
Okay, thank you. I have no more questions. I'm going to pass the mic to Councilmember Salah.
Thank you. I have a few questions. As Chair Riley noted, regarding the affordability, this presentation before us is very different than the one provided to Community Board 10 at multiple public hearings. In those sessions, an enhanced affordability proposal was presented to increase the number of affordable units from 291 to 591. That plan included a non-for-profit partner, Concerned Housing, who would manage 100% affordable, who would manage a 100% affordable building, while the second building would be subject to MIH. Can you please explain this stark change?
So the plan that we proposed, we drafted and worked on a couple of years ago, and it's gone through the process. It was mapped as MIH2, and that's the plan that's before us today. But, Councilman, as you know, we've had discussions about trying to increase the affordability. So the notion that we had, and we talked about this, and we've spoken to many people in the community, was to identify and work with a third-party, not-for-profit, affordable developer, and then attempt to then use that building to increase the amount of affordability. That's still our objective. It's something that I've committed to both in the MOU, I've committed to it privately with you, I'm committing to it today. The reality is that when everyone knows that without government subsidy, and in this case, significant government subsidy, it is impossible to execute on a plan like that. That doesn't mean we've given up on it. It means that we have to continue working. And my belief is that as soon as we get this project certified, as it's before you today, we can continue those discussions and do what we can to try and enhance the affordability that you and I have talked about for so long.
And as you can imagine, there's been great frustration and, in fact, puzzlement. As CB10, the borough president, and myself, and many more have made it clear that committing to an enhanced affordability plan was vital to approving this project. Now, the presentation before us meets the bare minimum requirements of affordability and also proposes that 97 to those 291 required quote-unquote affordable units be provided at 120% of the AMI. This equates to about $175,000 for a family of three. This is far out of reach for so many of my constituents. How would you justify to them this large development being put right in the middle of their community in light of this reality?
Right, so a few things. First of all, as you know, there's no current housing at the site. There has been a paucity, and I'm being kind, of any housing development at all in CB10 over the past 10 to 12 years. There is currently no requirement to build any affordable housing on the site. Approximately 40,000 square feet of the site can be used to do as-of-right housing. That wouldn't be affordable. We're very mindful of the needs of the folks in the community. And the MIH2 option is going to create 291 permanently affordable units for incomes across the AMI band, as low as 40% to 80%, and as you said, to 120%. There are, we believe, opportunities and folks in the community who can avail themselves of the affordable part of the units. We believe there are plenty of folks in the community that will do so. And we also believe that the general philosophy that you need to build more apartments, you need to build more units in the community. We think that once you do that, it will invite other development, more units will be built. This will help stabilize and even lower prices of rents across CB10.
Thank you. The median household income in my district is really under $53,000, which is roughly about 40% of the area median income. Throughout this process, constituents have voiced their concerns about affordable housing and fear of being displaced, and in fact, fear of gentrification. How would you suggest that this proposal, especially without the enhanced affordability scenario, address those concerns, even when the affordable units are largely out of reach for the average family now living in Harlem?
Right, so because the site currently has no residential use, and it hasn't, as far as I know, for decades, not a single person will be displaced. Some folks talk about secondary displacement, talking about people who live in surrounding buildings and the fear that they'll be displaced. That's not going to happen here because the vast majority, I think it's over 90% of all of the other residential units in the immediate surrounding area are Mitchell-Lama or NYCHA or other heavily subsidized buildings. So there is almost no fear that anyone will be displaced, certainly not at the site because no one lives there now, and we don't believe that the issues of secondary displacement are at play here. With respect to gentrification, that's a big topic, and we could spend, I guess, a hearing about that as well. But here's what I would say. Councilman, as you know, the location of the development site is in a critically important area of central Harlem. It's at an intersection, an important commercial and residential corridor in central Harlem. Currently, it is, in my view, unacceptable. It is a development site that is crying out for jobs, for retail, for opportunity, for hope, and for housing. So I can't speak to the issue of gentrification at this point. Again, bigger topic. But I do know this. After almost 8 years of meetings with hundreds of people in the community, I can tell you what they've told me. They've told me they want better job opportunities. They told me they want better opportunities to shop. They want the site cleaned up. They want safe and welcoming places for young people to come to, and frankly, for older people as well. And they want something that other communities regularly enjoy, and that is private investment in the community that will create hope and opportunity. And I can assure you, and I'm very mindful, and we appreciate the concerns of folks who think, well, maybe if they are at the lowest end of the economic spectrum and would be challenged to find an apartment at the site. I believe that there were plenty of folks in the community who can afford, on the affordable side, the apartments. And by the way, 52% of the district makes over $100,000 a year, and those folks who want to move into the market rate apartments can. But I think overall, we have to look at the big picture here, and the big picture is this project will create enormous economic activity in central Harlem, create jobs and opportunity, give people something they currently don't have. So in balance, I think we've struck the right balance. We'll continue to try and do better, but at this point, I think this project, as I said, achieves the right balance, and it's something that's desperately needed.
As you are aware, if HPD funding were to be used to fund 100% of the affordable building, the design would require two separate buildings instead of the two towers on a single basis. As is illustrated in your presentation today, do you have an alternative design plan with these HPD requirements in mind? And if so, can you share them with us?
Yeah, as I said, we've had extensive conversations with HPD and other city officials. So in the event that we're able to find a way to increase the affordable apartments and increase the affordable basis of this plan, we have worked with our architects and with the other architects who are involved in the project. And again, Councilman, we've spent countless hours with them, and we're prepared to move in that direction if need be.
Before I move on to other areas of the proposal, I want to strongly reiterate my position that, hold on for 1 second. I want to strongly reiterate my position that 291 affordable units is definitely too low. And including the MIH affordable targets that far exceed the average household income in Central Harlem is deeply troubling. So today I'm asking you to commit on record to continue to diligently pursue much greater affordability than what you presented here today, and to make changes that reflect the reality in my community. Specifically in terms of and this is something that's been appreciated by many of us, and I think we've had conversations about this as well offline. You know, making sure that even like the workforce, the backbone of our community, the people like, you know, teachers and so forth and so on, would actually be able to say, you know what, wow, I want to be able to move into that building and actually be able to move into it. So I want to make sure that, you know, on record, we are asking, will you make that commitment?
Yeah. Councilman, you know, because I've said this privately to you, but I'll say it publicly now, and I've said it publicly before. We take all of your concerns and the concerns and observations of the community very seriously. We have tried our very best to meet and address those concerns. But I will publicly commit, as I committed to in the memorandum of understanding that I signed with the borough president and in my private conversations with you here publicly, that I will continue to do whatever I can to work with you and community leaders to make this plan the best plan that we can make it for the most number of people in your community.
And I mean, I appreciate that, because I'm not asking you to solve the problems of every single person,
I know.
100%. But, you know, definitely, as we make as we march in the right direction, you know, I want to make sure that the community knows that we're hearing you. The developers are hearing you, right? And you know, I want to echo what I've heard really in more recent times. The words which are, we want to make sure that the developers are being very, very generous to our community, especially in light of the fact that we've been so divested of in the past.
I appreciate that. If I could just add, and I agree with you, and we've talked about that, and I agree with you, which is why, in addition to the housing plan that we've put forth, we've talked about a lot of benefits that we're specifically targeting for the community, whether that has to do with workforce training. We're going to target people in the community, whether that has to do with a community center that, as you know, it's something you were very, very, very important to you, something that's unprecedented, that's going to provide young people in Harlem and anyone in Harlem with access to opportunity that they, but for this, wouldn't have. We're talking about having the green energy sustainable piece of this, which will make the community healthier and safer. We're talking about creating jobs and retail that didn't exist before. Everything that we do in this plan, everything, has the folks in Harlem in mind. And that's the reason why we've engaged with them and spent so many years talking to them. And the plan that we have is a reflection of that commitment, Councilman. And I will continue to do whatever I can working with you to make this plan as good as it can be for your constituents and the people in Central Harlem, because you're right, for way, way too long, for years before we ever arrived on the scene, the community has been underserved, neglected, redline, reverse redline, discriminated against. And as you know, this is our private investment. We're getting no government subsidy at this point. This is all at-risk dollars, private investment that we're committing to this community because we believe in the community, and we will continue to do what we can to make this the best project that we can for your community.
Well, thank you. I definitely appreciate that commitment. I want to move to the unit mix and family size units. The proposal before us has 70% of the units as studio or one-bedroom apartments. And I want to echo really what our chairman has said regarding being against, studio and one-bedrooms, because, of course, not from the mere fact that I'm a family man, but we really are a community that has family in mind, right? This is a major concern, as you can imagine, for me and for the community board and the families in my community. Why are there so few 2- and 3-bedroom units being proposed, and is your team willing to add more?
Yeah, so I want to, we're mindful of those concerns as well. So just for history's sake, the original proposal that we made was included about 230 family-size units. We've increased that dramatically by almost 20%. And in fact, the target that we have now would increase that probably to 25%. The number of 2- and 3- family-size units that we propose to put into the building is atypical of what new developments typically would do. So the first point is that A, we heard you. B, we've increased the number of family-size units since the first program. 3, the number of 2 and 3 family-size units in the building now are atypical of what any other development would do across the city. And lastly, we also have to be mindful of what we can rent. Now, I understand that there's a need, and this is a family-size a community that it's important to have family-size units, but we also have to then, carefully map out what we think is marketable and what we can rent. It's a complicated sort of plan, but we've looked at it. We've increased the number. We're cognizant of the need to build apartments and homes for families. Yes, Councilman, I'll go back, see if we can sharpen our pencil, look at this more carefully. Yes, I will.
Thank you. I want to move to the community trust. Following the withdrawal of the 145 application in 2022, the site was left in disrepair and worse, partially turned into a truck depot. This was a really disregard of and degrading of what the community trust could be. That trust was very, very slim already. And, between the community and yourself, I want to know if you can answer a question that's been on the minds and hearts of many in our community. Why should the community trust you now?
Yeah, so I'll say 3 things. One, I've already said publicly, I think twice, at the community board hearings, once at the City Planning Commission hearing, when I was asked specifically about this by one of the commissioners, what my thinking was about the truck depot. I said then, I'll say it now. In retrospect, it was a mistake. It should not have been done. I would not do it again, and I apologize for it. 2, to get to your specific question about trust. Over the last 2 or 3 years, and there were people, I believe, here who are going to testify as such, we have used that. We have, by the way, spent a significant amount of money to clean up and to make that site suitable for the use of not-for-profit organizations that have used that site to provide invaluable services to the community. We have not charged anyone a penny. We have spent thousands and thousands of dollars to renovate portions of the site in order to make it usable for these community groups. We have, for a period of time, used one of the sites for a free food giveaway, which we also partly sponsored. So what I would say is you have to look at the totality of the record, look at what we've done over the last few years with the site, look at the community groups that we work with, look at the amount of support that we've invested in the community, and I would respectfully suggest that that record, when you look at it from that perspective, is a very, very good one. Again, I am trying to look prospectively, not retrospectively, to see what kind of great things that we can accomplish, and I think we can.
I want to move. Well, thank you for that. And I actually have seen some of those, for lack of a better word, investments in the community. I want to move to the environment.
Mm-hmm.
The draft environmental impact statement concluded that this project would result in a significant adverse indirect open space impact to total active and passive open space due to the underserved nature of the study area. How is your team fulfilling the obligation to mitigate this impact?
So, Councilman, I learned a long time ago, when I can't answer a question effectively, I try to pass the buck. So I think I have my environmental consultant who's on Zoom. I believe Lynn Doe is on. Lynn, if you're on, could you please respond to the councilman's question?
Just before.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Just before you answer, what's it?
Her name is Lynn Doe.
Oh, Linda. Miss Doe, could you please, could we have you on camera? Is that possible?
I should be on camera. Am I not
there
on
you go.
camera?
Thank you, yes. Could you
Sorry.
please raise your right hand?
Yes,
And do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth in your testimony today and in response to council member questions?
I do.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay. Thank you. Good morning, council members. Bruce, in response to the question regarding the environmental impacts, yes, we did disclose the potential for impacts on the open space, and that is because we are introducing new populations to the area, and therefore we, based on the current inventory in the area. We noted that there could be additional demand. In the disclosure of that, we have been working with the Parks Department to identify the potential for where we can make improvements, either through the addition of additional on-site open space or through the improvement of existing inventory. And I believe that that is still an ongoing conversation, although we've had many conversations related to programming, as well as the improvements of ball fields, as well as the improvements to programming and lighting in the area. At this point, it is still being discussed, and I would leave it back to Bruce to have those further commitments with the Parks Department as well. But we did disclose that, and we had been looking at options to potentially improve the area in resources.
So while we have you, there's been great discussion as well about the soil tests, the fact that this is in fact a site where a gas station was located. And so part of the question, or part of the response rather, that I'm really trying to get at is in response to that, the soil, the effects that are happening now in the world as it relates to the world heating up, global things happening, all of that stuff. You know, as we begin to look at this project and move in a direction that allows for this to be built, that question in terms of that study is really relating to that and all of the things involved at that space in particular. So not just the surrounding park areas, but more so building on that site, the ground, the soil, all of that.
Yes. Okay. Well, I'm going to answer it in different parts because they touch on different elements of the environmental review. As part of the disclosure, we did look at what the effects are in the open space. We did look at what is going on with construction. We also looked at what is going on in terms of the site remediation. And as Bruce had mentioned, the site is undergoing the brownfield cleanup program under the state DEC jurisdiction. As part of that, there are particular cleanup levels that the site must achieve. And because we're putting residential on there, it is a high level of remediation, so that by the time the remediation under the brownfield cleanup program is completed, the site will be very clean and it will be suitable for residences. It will be suitable for visitors to the site. All of that soil will be taken off the site, and we'll make sure that the testing for the groundwater and the soil is appropriate for DEC requirements. In terms of some of the other holistic parts of climate change and the things that we need to do as a society here, one of the things, as Bruce had mentioned earlier in his presentation, was a lot of the energy efficiency, water usage, and all of that is very important in lowering our carbon footprint and lowering the impacts of new uses on the site. So those are commitments that are that have tangible and direct results in reducing our demand and on resources in the area.
Thank you. I have a question about the community center that's being proposed. I'm excited about the Technology Learning Center being proposed and the opportunity that it could provide to our youth in Harlem. Do you have an organization in mind that could operate this center?
The technology and innovation hub is something unique. In fact, I remember during the CPC hearing, Commissioner Knuckles commented that it's something he hadn't seen before. It's truly a unique structure. We talked about that, in fact, at our very first meeting. You mentioned to me that you wanted to see something. In fact, you said that's something that you're going to insist upon. We came up with this idea together, as you know, Councilman, and spoke to lots of folks in the community. look, the general idea is to have a center that could be used for younger adults, the kids of Harlem, that could be trained in emerging technological fields. We talked about this: AI, prompt engineering, computing, green energy, lots of different purposes, with a great public space and a welcoming and safe place for the people in the community. It is going to require some kind of not-for-profit or private partner. We've talked about this. What I'd like to do is to get to work with you, the other stakeholders in the community, and begin to call technology companies and to call think tanks and other groups around this country. You know a lot of who those folks are, to come into Harlem and to then put their money where their mouth is, to come work with us. We're building a beautiful, magnificent, state-of-the-art center for the community. I am very, very encouraged, based upon preliminary conversations and my understanding of the way these things work, that we'll be able to find someone suitable and credible, first class, that would provide services that we've been talking about to the community for many years to come. We want to do this the right way. We don't want to run into this and get some fly-by-night not-for-profit group. We want to get the right group that is committed to Harlem, so that this is a long-term commitment to the community.
Speaking to that end, what assistance, financial or otherwise, would be required from public entities to make this tech center concept a reality?
Yeah, so what we have committed to do is to, well, let me step back. The concept here is, and I've had these discussions with folks in the community and people in your office, would be that once the site, or that portion of the site, is developed and built, and that would require government assistance on the capital construction side. So from the City of New York, the State of New York, and perhaps, again, private entities or the federal government. We've had certain discussions with people at all those levels who are interested in helping. Then our commitment as owners and developers would be to then lease the space at $1 a year, which is a significant loss of income for us. Commercial space in Harlem and Central Harlem is valuable. So what we thought was reasonable and fair and made sense was to get contributions that help to do the capital construction side of that portion of the building, and then we would then lease it in essence for free. So there'd be no financial burden or obligation, certainly on the community or local community groups, to keep that sustained.
Thank you. I want to move to the banquet hall space.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to the community and to me that the rooftop gathering space evokes what's best about Harlem: the people, the culture, and most definitely the food. How will you work with the community and my office to ensure this goal is met?
Well, that's probably something nearer and dearer to my heart, Councilman. So I'm committed to going on a tour of all the great food and other venues around the country so we can find something that's suitable to Harlem. Look, we spoke about this. It's a great opportunity to do some kind of gathering space, recreation space, conference space. But as we've talked about, and I've spoken to folks in the community, it's got to be something that reflects what Harlem is, what Harlem was, what Harlem could be. I'm very excited about that. It's another opportunity that I'm eager to get to work with you on, to find the best in class, and to do something that would make the community proud. Again, respecting what the past history was, and then looking forward to the great future.
Absolutely. I want to move to local hiring.
Mm-hmm.
If approved, how are MWBE organizations and diversity practices being implemented during the construction phase of this development? Will you consider working with an MWBE development team to construct your proposal?
So I think there are two parts to the question. So firstly, embedded into the community benefits agreement is our commitment to a robust MWBE program that really, it covers several different aspects. A, we're committed to marketing, and if we can, reserving a portion of the site for local minority and women-owned businesses. That's something that's never been done before, and that's something that's frankly unique. The second aspect of the plan is to work with local local workers who actually live in Harlem. There's someone actually here today from a major union in the city. There are thousands and thousands of union members who live in the district, tradespeople that we were committed to working with. The third part of your question, I think, is something that's different and unique, and which is actually finding a minority-owned firm that we could work with as part of the development team. That's something that we don't currently have, and I'll make a commitment today publicly, which I haven't done so before publicly, that is something that not only are we going to entertain and consider, but as I've spoken to folks, on your staff and others, we are prepared and willing to engage with a firm that's able to work with us. And then you could point to actually a minority-owned firm that's actually building and developing the site in addition to the other aspects of our MWEB program.
And what percent of local hiring are you willing to commit to for the construction of this development?
Yeah. So I am looking at the community benefits agreement now. I have it in front of me. We have targets. As you know, it's very difficult to put a fixed number of the amount of people that are going to work on the project, and there were all sorts of reasons for that. But looking through the CBA, which I have in front of me, we're talking about 50% of local retailers must be minority locally owned business. That's a big number. 20% of the commercial retail space at 145 shall be set aside for local residents. That's a big number. And as far as hiring is concerned, I believe we're looking at a number at 10% or even perhaps higher than that. So we have a real commitment not only to find people who live in Harlem, who actually live in Harlem, who are tradespeople, who can actually work developing the site, but also budding entrepreneurs who either have businesses in Harlem or want to open a business, and we reserve space for them as well. And we're also committed to working with a workforce training group that will target folks who live in Harlem. So this goes back to your earlier question, Councilman. You wanted to know, you said this, you wanted to know, and I wrote it down, for whom is this project being built? And I think certainly and surely the apartments and the residential units, that's an important component of the project. But we can't and should not forget the other important aspects of this project. The stores, the jobs, the businesses, who will take part in building 145. These are all commitments that we've made, and I think we've hit some big numbers that will reflect our desire and commitment to ensuring that this project is being built by people in your community who can then find a way to live and also to make a living and grow, keep wealth in this community as well.
Well, I definitely look forward to continuing to work with you and also work with the people, really be the voice of the people in the room to make sure that this project, if pushed forward, actually becomes that beacon of opportunity, of green energy, not just green energy because we've discussed green energy, but really green energy back into the people feeling like they're being invigorated with something that allows them to really have hope for a future that looks so dismal. So I thank you for your answers.
Councilman, just to conclude, unless I have other questions, that's the point. We're not only looking to try to develop a great project for today, but, we want to look ahead 5, 10, 15, 20 years. All too often, folks come into a community, build a project, it looks great. 10, 15, 20 years later, not so great. And we know what we're talking about. There are too many developments in Harlem, too many developments around the city where a thoughtful consideration isn't given to what happens 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the road. This project is very thoughtful. It's designed very well. It's going to be constructed beautifully and designed with world-class architects so that we have in mind not only the people who live in Harlem today, but young families, growing families that want to stay in Harlem. We want 145 to be a beacon and a place for them to live and to thrive and to stay in Harlem.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, Chair. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Salam. There being no more questions for the applicant team is now excused. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Councilman Chairman. Thank you, Councilman.
So we're going to transition into in-person testimony. We have about roughly 10 people in person to testify, and then we're going to transition to online testimony. So online, will get to you in the next 20 to 25 minutes. The first in-person panel and excuse me if I butcher your name, will consist of Sheena Benjamin, Julius Tajin. Julius Tajin. You could correct me up there, Julius. Thank you. Nadira Elamar and George Brown. Sergeant, can we get another microphone up there for them, please? Thank you.
Is this filtered water? Is it?
Okay, we have Julius up there. We have George. George?
Yes. You can slide down. Yep. And you can sit here on the end. Yep. There you go. Take your time.
Is that George Brown? Yeah? Okay. Nadir?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Nadir?
Yes.
All right, 1 second, George. 1 second. 1 second. Julius, Sheena Benjamin? All right, there. Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, so first we'll begin with George Brown.
Good afternoon. My name is George Brown. I'm a shareholder of Esplanade Gardens. I live in Harlem. I'm born and raised in Harlem, and I love Harlem. Okay? I just want to say this. I'm thinking about that building, right? It's made of glass. And I'm looking at it, and the reflection of that building is going to impede where I live at, which is Esplanade Gardens, right? Then you have the pollution that so many people are there, okay? And then them tall buildings, right? How you're knocking out the view. People can't even see because the building's so high. You want to beautify Harlem, keep it at a level whereas you ain't got those skyscraper, those tall buildings, all right? Then they told us that yesterday we were supposed to come. This is the 20th, right? They said yesterday was the 20th. A lot of my neighbors wasn't able to come that is more informed than me. But I have a feeling for Harlem. Like I said, I'm born and raised in Harlem. I don't want to keep looking up like it's downtown, midtown. This is residential area. But that's all I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Next, we'll hear from Julius.
Good morning, good afternoon, subcommittee.
Julius, can you please press the button? Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon, subcommittee members. I've sent you much information regarding the environmental concerns related to the 145 project that have been ignored by this developer and sadly, but not surprisingly, dismissed by the City Planning Commission. There are also other concerns that will be touched on by my CB10 Harlem neighbors. So my testimony today is not to be redundant, but to give you an extraction of such information of where I think this should go. What would a practical analysis and practical outcome be on the development of a 400-foot building plus, in fact, 2 on liquefaction-prone soil? In the present case, there's a greater than 50% risk for liquefaction at and near the project site if an earthquake of any magnitude occurs at or near the project site, or when the 5 or near 5 magnitude occurs anywhere in the city. It is strongly recommended and essential that this URLIP be put on pause while the developer consults with a qualified structural engineer and geotechnical engineer to determine the appropriate foundation depth for a 400-foot building in an area susceptible to liquefaction, notwithstanding the other concerns raised by the majority of CB10 residents, such as height in general, affordability of the units for Harlem residents, jobs for U.S. citizens, etc. They will take into consideration the specific soil conditions, building design, and local regulations and make the proper modification suggestions to the building design and foundation to ensure the building safety and stability. This consultation will also determine if the 145th Street station will be impacted by the development of these two towers in this liquefaction-prone zone. Lastly, it will also be determined if the developer even has the funds to properly mitigate these RWCDS in this liquefaction-prone area. So I would recommend that City Council remand this proposal back to City Planning for a FUCA and let the FUCA process play out. Let's see where we are after that, because in truth, all of the other things won't matter if the project as is cannot be built.
Thank you, Julius. Next, we'll hear from Nadira. And I'm just going to ask one of you to allow Ms. Sheena to sit there so she could testify right after you. Go ahead, Nadira.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Nadira El-Amin. I'm a Harlem resident from day one. And my concern is, many of you have addressed those concerns, 900 units as you speak in this particular block, quarter of a block, I feel is too much. Esplanade Gardens has 1,800 units, but we're in a landmass of maybe 4 or 5 blocks. 145th Street is a very large commercial area, and I think that adding 900 units to that area is too much. We also will have the elimination of a gas station. We used to have 5 in our area, now we're down to 2, and with this project, we'll be down to 1, okay? And I think that as we go forward, we also need to think about the information that came out recently in the city about sinking of these large buildings in different areas downtown. They're saying sinking is happening to some of these areas. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen in this particular area, but it's going to be something that, as the gentleman just talked about, the landmass, that we have to consider. Okay, maybe when they revisit this project, we can downsize it to maybe less units and more family units, as you expressed. But I think that as we go forward, that's very important, because as we look at the traffic that we're going to be impacted in that area, and it's also a flood zone that I know we as Esplanade has been experienced from Sandy. So I hope that you will all consider those points. Thank you.
Thank you. Sheena?
Hi, good morning.
If we're finished.
Red button? Yeah, press that.
We can
Okay,
go.
thank you. Good morning. My name is Sheena Benjamin, and I'm a mother, a Harlem native, and a daughter of the Second Great Migration, a first-generation Northerner. I stand here not just as a voice, but as a legacy bearer of those who built Harlem, preserved Harlem, and never left Harlem. I rise today in firm opposition to 145 proposal, not because I'm against progress, but because I am for Harlem. This proposal does not reflect our needs, our income, or our future. Let's be honest. Developers are calling these units affordable, but affordable to whom? In 2025, the area median income for New York City is $145,000 about for a family of 3. Harlem median income is less than $52,000. At 80% AMI, rents can reach at least $2,500 a month or more, a price Harlem families simply cannot pay. New York City is in a declared housing emergency. Vacancy for affordable units is below 1%. For those earning 30% AMI or less, the vacancy rate is less than 0.5%. Over 130,000 New Yorkers are in shelters, and the number is climbing. This crisis is not abstract. It is visible on every block in Harlem, and is disproportionately affecting the residents, seniors, veterans, single mothers, single fathers, disabled individuals, and youth. Let me say it plainly that this is not a development, this is displacement, respectfully. Displacement means being forced out of your home, school zone, and supporting systems because what you're being built is not meant for you. Thank you. So I asked the city council, why must Harlem carry another luxury tower while we're still in crisis? Why not build in higher income areas with higher vacancy? Why here and why now? We know who truly needs the housing. Survivors of domestic violence and trafficking, the deaf, the blind, and the neurodivergent adults, trans youth and elders not in safe shelters, fostered youth,
Sheena, I'm right here. You can wrap it up.
Yes,
please.
okay.
Thank you.
And plainly, I see the change that the developers have made to where we got today. Harlem is not opposed to the change. We're not opposed to the development. We don't want to be pushed out of what we built. The people who are in Harlem now are the descendants of the people who came here from the South to seek refuge. To have this one area that's seemingly a gated community for people who are not supportive of the people who are around the community is just not right. It's the same redlining that you talked about, respectfully. But I do believe in solution-based situations, and I'm here on behalf of my church, and I am more than willing to work with you in any way, shape, form, or fashion to help this go forward if it even advances. At this moment, where it stands now, this does not benefit Harlem at any shape, form, or fashion.
Thank you so much. There being no questions, this panel is excused. Next, we're going to hear from Larry Nickens, Maury Davis, Sarah Penderberg, and Adana Ba. First, we'll hear from Larry.
Good afternoon, family. Wanted to say thanks for the invite to the councilman, of course, who I'm forever grateful for, number one, being a legitimate Harlem citizen, and now as a councilman putting his best foot forward. And just want to let you know, you always supported, by true Harlemites. So I wanted to get that out the way. I've been a resident in Harlem for 60 years, like a legitimate stakeholder. I lost my brother here in Harlem. My testimony is we call it a development, right? So as leaders, there's always going to be objections. Our job is to make sure that the objections are addressed and that we have development, because it's never going to be 100% what we may perceive it to be. Setting all the other details aside, that's important. Then we want to look at what you said is important. The set amount of studios versus 1, 2, 3 bedrooms. That's an objection. So Bruce has demonstrated an ability to develop, has demonstrated a willingness to make those adjustments. Of course, we're going to hold them to that. But again, it's about development and not being afraid to come out of status quo. Because for some reason, some of us as residents, it's really not about objections, it's just about us being afraid of moving forward. Also want to look at something that was said in terms of the jobs, et cetera, et cetera. The collateral upside associated with these type of opportunities we need to look at, because again, that's development. Part of what we come across in terms of public safety, quality of life, it has a lot to do with an inability or the lack of opportunities to earn income. So what we have to do is, okay, we know that the median income is X, Y, and Z, but we also want to create an atmosphere where people can start earning more. Because if we keep saying it's not affordable, what do we do to create a stimulus where people can start affording versus just using that as an excuse to not develop? So I just want to say, let's be true leaders. Let's put the objections on the table. And if the objections are met, we got to move forward, because what we see now at 145 is totally unacceptable. So let's speak for the collective and not for a small group, and use the noble motive that the project is driven by gentrification, etc. Let's be genuine. Let's put the objections on the table. And let's move forward
Thank you, Larry.
collectively. Thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Larry. You could wait right there real quick. Well, actually, I'm sorry, Larry. You're right. Can we have Ms. Adana? You could sit right there. Next, we're going to hear from Sarah. Oh, Larry. Before you have to be excused before you leave. So don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Thank you. Go ahead, Sarah.
Thank you, Chair Riley and the subcommittee. My name is Sarah Pennenberg, and I'm here representing SEIU Local 32BJ. 32BJ is the largest property service workers union in the country with over 175,000 members across 13 states, 90,000 in New York, and 2,000 that live and reside in Harlem. 32BJ supports responsible developers who invest in communities where they build. I'm happy to report that the developer of this proposed project has made a credible commitment to create prevailing wage jobs for workers who will permanently staff this building. We estimate that this rezoning will allow for a creation of 14 to 15 property service jobs. Those are permanent jobs. Good jobs like these mean prevailing wage, meaningful benefits, and a pathway to the middle class for local community members who tend to fill the position. Moreover, we need more housing in New York and in every neighborhood of the city to ensure that working families are not displaced by dwindling supply and skyrocketing rents. The proposed development includes residential units, around 968 residential units, 291 of them which would be permanently income restricted for low and middle income residents. As the cost of living rises in New York, New Yorkers struggle to stay in their homes. It is more important than ever that we create affordable housing and good jobs which uphold industry standards in the city. For all these reasons, 32BJ strongly supports 145 for Harlem's rezoning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Ms. Davis.
Hello, my name is Moray Davis, and I'm an advocate and lifelong resident of Harlem and a shareholder at Esplanade Gardens, which is directly across the street from the development site. I was the catalyst in organizing the Esplanade Gardens 145 committee that opened the lines of communication between shareholders and the developer. Previously, we opposed some of the aspects of the original projects. However, I fully support the proposed plan that's before us today for various reasons, such as the developer has invested more time and energy in community outreach and has taken our suggestions to heart. The museum has been replaced with additional affordable housing, and the current plan will create more than 100 apartments, with approximately 35 more being affordable for those in need of rental assistance. In addition, the developer added more 2- and 3-bedroom units to accommodate families, which that was mentioned in both the U comments, the chair and Yusef's. There will also be a community center and public accessible open community event space, which is both needed and appreciated by the community, especially for our youth with limited recreational opportunities and options. The revised design of the building is aesthetically pleasing and will complement the surrounding community. Lastly, there will be a community benefits agreement that will have a community advisory board that will serve as a watchman and maintain the lines of communication between the community and developer. The 5 points I've mentioned have strongly influenced my putting my support behind the 145 project. The property where the 145 project is to be developed has been derelict in disrepair and an eyesore for many years, way before the property changed hands. This has only generated filth, susceptibility to crime, and currently serves no purpose to the community except to house vagrants, garbage, and rats. That must go. Change presents challenges, but as we know, change is inevitable. So please do not allow fear and opposition to hinder productivity and progress. In conclusion, I urge our local council member, Yusef Salaam, and his esteemed colleagues to fully support this proposed 145 project. Don't let the eyesore become a stain on your conscience and your tenure by preventing development. For generations, Harlem had and its longtime residents
Just start wrapping up, Ms. Davis.
have been denied the opportunity of generational wealth. This project is an important and huge opportunity for our community and generations to come.
Thank you. Adana?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adam Abba. I'm the Executive Director of Africana, a Harlem-based CBO that supports new and long-standing Black immigrants, migrants, and anyone in need. We help people access food, legal aid, shelter support, job training, and language classes. We also offer healing groups for women and other programs in Harlem, a place I have lived in and where I have deep roots and connections. I currently serve as a member of Community Board 10, and I sit on the Land Use Committee. The views that I'm expressing do not represent the board as a whole, but myself as an individual. Africana operates outside of the space located in a proposed development site, which is provided to me free of charge by Bruce Teitelbaum and his group. I work from that space and provided invaluable services to thousands of local residents and newly arrived immigrants and continue to do so today. This would not be possible without the accommodation Bruce gave us. The developer built out the office space at no cost. The developer covers all the operating costs associated with the office. The developer has provided other invaluable support so Africana can continue its mission. Bruce did all of this without ever asking for or receiving any deal with me. In fact, after a mutual friend introduced us, he simply asked how he could help. I have no written deal with him now, nor any legal agreement about what happens once 45 gets built. Only his word that there will be space for groups like Africana that serve the community, and he has always kept his word. What matters to me is what he has done and continues to do to help me and Africana serve Central Harlem and his residents. Over the past 3 years or so, I have known and worked with Bruce personally. He kept all his words, his commitments, and treated me and everyone I work with respect. I trust Bruce because he's never given me a reason to do so. I support Bruce because he's honorable and has shown a genuine commitment to helping the community. And I generally support Bruce 145 project for many reasons, as do many of my friends, neighbors, and community whose voice are often drowned out the loudest ones. So let me add my voice of support as you consider this project. The current site is in desperate need of repair. What Bruce is planning and offering is to help the community. We desperately need it, and I appreciate him for coming up with this plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There being no questions for this panel is excused. Thank you so much. The last panel in person we'll hear from consists of Shams DeBaron and Christopher Leon Johnson. We'll begin first with Shams DeBaron.
Copy that.
Good to see everybody today. Distinguished council members, I'm Shams DeBaron, known as the homeless hero and now the housing hero. 30 years ago, I spent many nights curled up on a park bench across from where 145 is proposed. Turner Young Playground, where I slept as a throwaway kid back when I was a teenager. I'd stare at the stars, wondering if I'd ever have a home. Today I stand before you as someone who collaborates with the city, the mayor's administration on addressing housing and homelessness, centering the voices of those with lived experience. I fought alongside hundreds of advocates for the City of Yes for Housing Opportunity and now serve as a commissioner on the Charter Revision Commission. Despite all that we as a city has done to deal with the issues of housing and homelessness, the reality is that as of present, 85,000 individuals in our shelter system and 31,000 of them are children. Despite gains in addressing homelessness, we see more people entering shelters every day. Harlem is oversaturated with shelters while affordable housing remains scarce. Every time we say no to housing like 145, we're saying yes to more shelters. If we as a city fail to produce housing, the result is going to be more shelters. It's that simple. As a foster kid on 140th between 7th and 8th, I found inspiration walking down Strivers Row, seeing black professionals who looked like me but didn't live like me. Seeing them in the community, I had an image of my potential. I knew that whatever my situation was at the time, there was a better way. Today, we have doctors, lawyers, and business owners who are black and thriving, but they are leaving Harlem in alarming numbers. Over just 1 decade, our community lost nearly 11,000 black residents. They're headed to Jersey, Pennsylvania, Westchester, taking with them the role models our youth desperately need. 145
You can start wrapping up.
Nearly 1,000 new homes, about 300 affordable and deeply affordable in a community that has always been a sanctuary for people of varying incomes. Council members, I've lived homelessness and housing insecurity, but I've dedicated my life to finding solutions. That park bench where I once slept is still there today, but with your vote, it can become the view from someone's window instead of their bed. Vote yes for a Harlem where no child's dreams are deferred by homelessness. Vote yes on 145 so people in Harlem can rise and thrive.
Thank you. Christopher.
Yeah. Hello, chairs Yusuf Salam and Chair Kevin Riley. My name is Christopher Leon Johnson. On the record, I used to be a shop steward for 32BJ on the MT Eastside Access projects. Let's be on the record with that. I am showing support to this land use application. I heard this guy, what he said, Mr. Teitelbaum, what he said about this application. We need the housing. I'm not against affordable housing. At the same time, like your recommendation, Mr. Salam, we need to increase the amount of affordable housing in this application. So I hope that Mr. Teitelbaum can agree with that and increase it at least by 20% instead of the 20%. While at the same time, I am calling on Mr. Teitelbaum to work with the City Council and the City Plan Commission and the Mayor's Office to ban the National Action Network and every board member, including Al Sharpton, from usage of the community space. I'm calling on that because I have a big feeling that this guy, Albert Sharpton, and the National Action Network will hijack that community center and make it amongst themselves. And we all know that's going to happen. I understand that Sharpton is not part of this application, but Sharpton in the city of New York is a big bully in politics, and he gets his way because he owns the Democrats in the city council. He's an agent of the Democratic Party. So I have a big feeling that Sharpton will hijack that community center and make it about himself. So I know that a lot of these nonprofits are scared of Al Sharpton, but I'm calling Mr. Teitelbaum. I know you have a lot of money and a lot of sway in the city, that you ban Al Sharpton, put it like in a contract that Al Sharpton and every person of the National Action Network that's on that board is barred from using that community space. That community space should be going to the people, these nonprofits like Adama Baz nonprofit and all the real community-based organizations that really does work for the community, that doesn't spout anti-Semitism, that doesn't spout racism and divisiveness like Albert Sharpton and National Action Network. So at the end of the day, like I said, I approve this project, but at the same time, the city council, the speaker, Menon or Adrian Adams, whoever, they need to come in together and make sure that Al Sharpton and the National Action Network are barred from using this community space for life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There be no questions. This panel is excused. If there's no more in-person testimony, if there's anyone in here that didn't get a chance to testify, please see one of the sergeants at arms and submit a speaker's card. Okay. With that being said, we're going to transition to online testimony. The first panel that we're going to call up consists of Pat Reyna Acosta Pele, Jarrell Peaker, Melba Wilson, Giselle Hearn, Tanisha Grant, and William A. Allen. The first person I'm going to call is Pat Reyna Acosta Pele.
Time starts now.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi. Okay. Oh. Can you see me? Okay.
Yes.
Good afternoon, good day, subcommittees. My name is Patriana Acosta Pell, and I am a shareholder at Esplanade Gardens. So I'm going to just touch on some things because I've been opposing this project since 2021. So the first one is if 145 is approved, it will violate the Fair Housing Act and anti-discrimination laws, Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. 2, City Council should be aware of the history regarding bait and switch with developers. Your own councilman and chair, Salmaka Jr. has pointed this out in a few land use committee meetings, talking about how when projects are approved, they are now bait and switch where the developer sells, meaning many times the presentation of monolithic projects does not get developed by the presenting developer, but by his assignee who has no obligation to the promises, community benefits agreements made by the original developer. Such assignees are often with no connection to the community, state, country, other than being allowed to enter into contracts. Benefit agreements mean nothing. Number two, I just want you guys to visualize 2 400-feet buildings on 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. That's just insane. It's already a highly dense populated area with high carbon footprint, which will create over 3,000 more people. This will literally take the oxygen out of the community. It will create more carbon emissions and rise in health concerns of the community. Number 4, I also concur with the reports and the other information presented by Mr. Julius Tahaja regarding the dangers of liquefaction and the potential catastrophic events that can happen as a result of this property being built, especially when we are in such a high-risk area. It's already flood
Thank
zone, hurricane zone, and so forth and so on. So therefore, I would just like to say, Bruce just needs to build as of right. He mentioned that earlier. He has 40,000 square foot.
Thank you,
It would
Ms.
not be
Acosta
anything
Pele.
against the community.
Thank you. Next, we hear from Gerald Peaker.
Time starts now.
Gerald Peaker.
No, I'm not testifying. I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. I'm just here as an attendee.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll hear from Melba Wilson.
Time starts now.
Hi, my name is Melba Wilson, and I'm here to offer my voice and support for the 145 project. I'm a lifelong resident of Harlem, born, bred, and buttered right here in the community. I own and operate Melba's Restaurant, a restaurant and community gathering space that I built from scratch 20 years ago. I've lived and worked here during the bad times and the good times and everything in between. So being born in Harlem Hospital, I've seen it all. I know Harlem as well as anyone, and I have a good sense of the street and what my neighbors are saying. Harlem is a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family, but it's also a place that needs more housing, more private investment, more economic development, improved public infrastructure, and better access to all the other keys to success that other communities enjoy. We need to stimulate the local economy to create better and higher paying jobs for our kids and everyone in need. We need to foster a culture of entrepreneurship and business ownership so that we can create and keep wealth in our community. We need to welcome private investment and those who are willing to risk their capital in Harlem. We must build more housing for everyone in Harlem so that we keep people from leaving, which is what's happened over the last 10 to 15 years. I have so many friends graduate from college, start their businesses, and they're not living in Harlem. So for me, that's a huge problem because we have to create economic empowerment in our community. How can we do all of this? There isn't a simple solution or an easy answer, but let's talk about 145th Street project and why I think it's an important piece of the puzzle. There are many people and organizations that make withdrawals from our community. I support the 145 project because they're looking to make deposits in Harlem. Almost 1,000 new, well-designed and appointed homes isn't chopped liver. It's a big number which will meet the needs of people who need income assistance, all the way to young professionals who are leaving Harlem. It's a world-class project designed by a well-known firm that has designed some of the nicest buildings in New York City and capitals around the world.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Harlem shouldn't have anything else. Harlem doesn't have anything else like it, and we really should.
Thank you, Melba.
It's also going to pump millions of dollars into the local economy, create jobs, and offer new career paths. So for me, this is important. As someone who lives here, who is the mother of a 25-year-old Black male child living here, this is important, and I totally support it. However, I do want to say that I do
Thank
agree.
you, Melba. We're gonna We're going to be moving on. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Next, we're going to hear from Giselle Hearn.
Time starts now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Giselle Hearn, and I really would like to turn my camera on if I knew how. My name is Giselle Hearn, and I have lived on 145 all my adult life. And I am 63 years old, and I saw the changes that this project has done. I saw the decline of 145 being going on. So, I just wanted to ask one question. Bruce Teitelbaum brought in concerned housing as affordability, 100% affordable housing. And I don't understand why we're not talking about that. Why aren't we talking about something that's going to help the community that has a median income of $40,000 live in a beautiful, beautiful building that will be maintained? We have encouraged everyone to come out and look at the concerned housing that has been developed in the Bronx and other places, and everyone who has seen it has agreed. I also have written testimonies and petitions against this 145 luxury housing that should not be built.
Giselle, we can't hear you. Pause. Giselle? Giselle Hearn? Okay, I believe we lost Giselle. So we're going to move on to Tanisha Grant. Tanisha, if you can hear me, please unmute. You may begin.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Ms. Grant.
Okay. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. So I want to first say that my name is Tanisha Grant, and I am the Executive Director of Parent Support and Parents New York. Around 4 years ago, when we found out about the 145 project as a community organization, we alerted the then Councilwoman Kristen Richardson Jordan, and we have been on the front lines ever since. We have been there to see the truck stop. We have been there to see the vindictiveness. So I want to say that the community supports development that addresses the need for affordable housing. The enhanced affordable plan that was presented does this. We have had a big part of our Harlem community leave Harlem because of affordability. This would help keep Harlem community members in the community. We hope you know that Parent Support and Parents is all about uplifting our community and would not sign off on a developer that would hurt our community. This is about making sure that there is a significant amount of deeply affordable and supportive housing built on this 145 project. And we are deeply committed to that goal. We plan to continue to advocate for the complete transparency on this matter. We believe that there should be town halls and much more information provided to the community beforehand so that the committee and community can have time to make informed decisions on these matters that affect our whole community. As a person who fights for real affordable, deeply affordable and supportive housing, I must say, I have never seen it done as well as Concerned Housing does it. PFPNY is in full support of Concerned Housing with Ralph Faustino as Executive Director, building a tower of affordable and supportive housing within the 145 project. We would love to arrange a tour with community members
Time
to come
expired.
see the
Thank you.
type of housing that Concerned Housing builds, and I will submit written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Grant. We're going to go back to Giselle Hearn. Ms. Hearn, you have 40 seconds left. Do you want to finish your testimony?
Yes, I do.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to say that we have written testimony for concern for the 100% affordability. We're asking Council Member Salam to push for the 100% affordability, not the two luxury buildings that we fought against so hard in 2020. Your community is counting on you, Council Member, to make the right decision for affordable housing on 145th Street. Please, please help us.
Thank you, Ms. Hearn. Next, we're going to hear from William A. Allen.
Time starts now.
Okay. Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. And my name is William Allen. Let me thank the council members and certainly all the public that's participating and the staff that's present. I'm a lifelong resident of Harlem, where I currently reside. I'm also a member of Community Board 10 and a duly elected Democratic District Leader. And both of those capacities, I'm not speaking today, I'm speaking as clearly as an individual. And I would just want to thank you for this opportunity to offer my perspective about an enormously important project in Harlem that I strongly support. I'm deeply involved in community affairs, civic life, political process, and business activities in Harlem. I know my community and its residents very well. Therefore, I can safely say that I am in perfect position to offer my insights about the 145 project. I'm here today speaking for myself, as I indicated, but I'm confident that my perspective is shared by the majority of folks in Harlem who understand what 145 is all about. It is no secret that there's an enormous housing crisis in New York City, but essentially in Central Harlem, which is making it increasingly challenging to live here. So let me focus on my neighborhood. Young people just starting out can't afford a decent apartment, even if they can find one. Other folks on a fixed income are being squeezed out. Couples who are building a family are choosing to leave Harlem because there are better choices out for it. And that for many of us, it's out of the state of New York. Just about everyone I know is paying too much of their disposable income on rent for apartments that are run down or otherwise don't meet their needs. Everyone agrees that there is a problem, but there is a disagreement about the solution. Welcome to 145. Here we have a world-class architect that designed a magnificent building that will create about 1,000 new homes for people at all parts of the income spectrum. A project that includes a fabulous tech innovation center, space for local community groups, publicly accessible open space, terrific amenities to boot. It comes with a robust community agreement that will shower and promote the community.
Thank you, William.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other things I wanted to say, other folks have said already.
Thank you so much. And you can always submit written testimony. We appreciate you testifying
I will be
today.
submitting it. Thank you, Councilman.
There being no questions for this applicant panel, this panel is excused. We're going to transition back into in-person testimony. And we're going to call Bishop Taylor to come to the podium. After Bishop Taylor, we're going to transition back to online. And that panel will consist of Gregory Christopher Baggett, Andrew Reckers, Orbit Clanton, Maurice Morel, and Lisa Downing, and Ronnie Gilson. Okay, we're going to begin with Bishop Taylor in person.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Yusef Salaam, Councilmember Kevin Riley, and to the committee on today. I'm here testifying in favor of the 145th project. And without mincing any words, this has been on deck for a while. It is a part of Urban Upbound's comprehensive neighborhood redevelopment plan that we are trying to establish in Central Harlem, which will be anchored by business development, workforce development, tax preparation, and one-on-one financial counseling. We believe the Queensbridge campus, which is a flagship and a model for programming across the city, can be replicated in Central Harlem. The developers at 145th have already committed a strong commitment to financing and uplifting this vision, and we are in full support of this neighborhood project. Thank you so much for your time on today.
Thank you, Bishop Taylor. There being no questions, you're excused. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're going to transition to online testimony. I'm going to step away and give the mic to Councilmember Salaam to carry out the rest of this meeting while as acting chair. Thank you, Council. As acting chair, as I step out for another meeting. Councilmember Salaam, you could come over here, Councilmember Salaam, so you can see the.
So the next online person is Gregory Christopher Baggett. Greg? Gregory, you can unmute and begin your testimony.
Thank you very much, Councilman Salam, and the members of the subcommittee for this opportunity to speak. I am Gregory Christopher Baggett, the founder of the A. Philip Randolph Square Neighborhood Alliance, a community planning organization that works at the intersection of housing, land use, and the public realm. And I'm testifying today to support this project. The recent unfavorable vote on the 145 development project by Harlem's Community Board reveals more about institutional dynamics than actual community sentiment. This vote does not represent a genuine community consensus, but instead continues a troubling pattern of using underdevelopment as a risk resistance tool against necessary neighborhood evolution. Too often, community board members often act as though they constitute a direct democracy when they're actually appointed managerial bodies meant to organize community expectations. The tenants of Fred Samuels Housing, those who would directly endure direct disruption from this project, largely support the project, and shouldn't those bearing the immediate impact have special weight? Additionally, the rezoning application initiates crucial negotiations to secure amenities addressing neighborhood needs like expanded green space, enhanced infrastructure, technology access, and sustainable economic development. A persistent misconception pervades Harlem development, that is the myth of luxury housing. There is no multifamily luxury housing in Central Harlem at this time. Current market rate housing effectively serves middle income residents. There are community advocates propose restructuring 145.
Time expired. Thank you.
You can wrap up, but your time is going. We'll now call Orbit Clanton.
Time starts now.
Yes. I have a question for the developers. I live in Harlem. I support the project with one caveat. Over and over again, at all the public meetings, it has been mentioned that one of the objectives that people have, objections, is that the two towers are too tall. Would the developers consider reducing the height of the towers? And if not, would they please share why they won't? Thank you.
This is an opportunity to take comments from the public, but the developer has already done their presentation, and they will not respond at this particular time, but we can take comments from the public. So your question will be noted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next person is Maurice Mariel.
Time starts now.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Dear council members, specifically Mr. Yusef Salam, I know you personally, but how you doing? My name is Maurice Morel, and I come before you today as a concerned citizen as well as a young man that's living in Harlem. I contributed to this community my whole life, and despite my roots here, I found myself in a position that so many people face, and that's, I can't afford to live here in a community that raised me. For years, I watched the rent rise while my wages remain the same. I have seen long-term residents, family, elders, and essential workers pushed out of the very community that we built. It's painful and unjust. It's a painful and unjust reality, and it's one that must be addressed with urgency and compassion. I'm here today to strongly advocate for enhanced housing programs in our community and any housing initiatives that can truly center the needs of the longstanding residents that actually live here. We became a marginalized community. We need affordable, stable, and dignity housing, and not just promises, but actions. Being a longtime resident here and being a person here, I come as a true citizen. I'm not a a representative, congressman, or none of that, but I'm a citizen here. And my whole life, I can't even afford to live in the community that actually raised me. So that's my concern, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Lisa Dowling.
Time starts now.
Lisa Downing. If you're available, you can unmute. So now we're going to move on to the next panel. If Lisa Downing comes online, we will definitely call her back. Next person is Anthony Nixon. Just press *6 to unmute. Anthony Nixon.
Time starts now.
Anthony Nixon, if you can hear me, you can press *6 to unmute. Okay, we're going to move to Stacy Cohen. If you are available, you can press *6 to unmute.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Stacy Cohen, and I've been a Harlem resident for well over 60 years, raising 5 children who are all self-sufficient, productive adults. I support the enhanced affordable plan proposed by Concerned Housing and West Harlem Group Assistance because Harlem needs real affordable housing that is 100% affordable. We need housing for low-income families and hardworking people to include teachers, senior care workers, delivery drivers, and more who are instrumental in the heart of Harlem. People who work and live in Harlem should not be forced to move due to housing being unaffordable. This project can help those in need of affordable housing, employment opportunities, and concrete services that can enhance the quality of life in the neighborhood of West 145th Street. I am asking this committee to make certain that any approvals includes this level of meaningful affordability, as Harlem has always been my home and the home of my neighbors, and we would like to keep it that way. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. I'll now call Mabel Ortiz. If you can press *6 to unmute. Mabel Ortiz, if you can hear me, you can press *6 to unmute. I'm going to move to Julio Encarnacion. Julio, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute.
Hi, good afternoon, council members. My name is Julio Encarnacion, and I have resided in Harlem for nearly 3 decades. I'm here today to express my strong support for the enhanced affordability plan proposed by Concerned Housing and West Harlem Group Assistance, because Harlem urgently needs the genuine affordable housing options. And this will help those in greater need in the inclusion for this 100% affordable building, since it's really critical for us now here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to hear from Lisa Rosa. Please press *6 to unmute.
Hi, good afternoon, all. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Hi, my name is Lisa Rosa. I was born and raised in Harlem and have lived there for over 30 years. I'm here today to voice my strong support for enhanced affordability plan proposed by Concerned Housing and West Harlem Group Assistance. These buildings will provide affordable apartments for very low income residents as well as homes for working individuals and families who are currently priced out of the neighborhood they serve. Harlem deserves housing that reflects the needs of its residents today and protects its future. People who live and work here should not be forced out or feel that the only option they have is to leave. I encourage you to ensure any approvals for this development include a firm commitment to real affordability, not just in name, but in lasting impact. Harlem is our home. Help us keep it that way. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. We'd like to now hear from June Andrews. June Andrews, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. June Andrews, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute. We'll now move to David Givens. David, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. David Givens. David Givens, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute. We'll now hear from David White. David White, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is David White. I am a professional currently working in Harlem. I am in support of this application. Harlem is in need of growth, more development, and housing. Without private investment in Harlem, Harlem would not grow. The people of Harlem, as we are aware, is in need of real affordable housing. I'm requesting that at least one of the buildings, as mentioned before, that it should be 100% affordable. I urge this subcommittee to ensure that the approval of this development includes a firm commitment to real affordability. Harlem deserves housing that reflects the needs of its residents today and protects it in the future. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. We're going to go back to hear from people who were unable to unmute at the time to see if they are available, starting with Lisa Downing. Lisa Downing, if you can hear me, please unmute. Lisa Downing, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute. We'll now hear back to see if we can hear from Anthony Nixon. Anthony Nixon, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. We'll now hear from Mabel Ortiz. If you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. June Andrews, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. And David Givens.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is June Andrews, and I've worked in the Harlem community for over 32 years in affordable housing. And as such, there is not enough affordable housing in the Harlem community, and more housing is needed. Due to the pandemic, many jobs were lost, and people are still looking for jobs and have been displaced, evicted, and lost their homes. The developer has offered, in addition to affordable housing, amenities for our community, such as community space and tech centers, which is much needed for our youth. As you know, the city is still facing food disparity, so the fresh food access is another important aspect to the community. The proposal includes a fully affordable building that provides housing for a range of incomes from very low income individuals to working New Yorkers who have been priced out of the communities they serve. This is the type of development our city desperately needs, one that blends equity, community, stability, and provides 1,200 jobs and over 900 units of housing. I strongly urge 100% support and ask the council to support the 145 for Harlem project. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now call David Givens. David Givens, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. David Givens, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity. Lifelong resident of Harlem, born in Harlem Hospital, and certainly support the 145 project. As you know, Harlem has gone through its ups and downs and difficulties, but the 145 project we support and fully enhanced affordability project that is desperately needed. We ask the council to consider it, to support it, and to help our community through the 145 project. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you. And for folks who were unable to unmute or prefer to submit written testimony, you can always do so by emailing it to landusetestimony@council.nyc.gov.
We will resume in just a minute. We are trying to sort out who the next online panel is.
We'll now call on Elizabeth Espinoza. You can unmute and begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, council members. My name is Elizabeth Espinosa, and I lived in Harlem for over 35 years. I strongly support the Enhanced Affordability Plan. The plan will provide opportunities for the growing population in our community, and it will also provide housing for low-income families and the young professionals that were born here in Harlem, and they don't want to move out our beautiful community but cannot afford due to the highest rent. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now call on Karen Paul. You can unmute and begin your testimony.
Hi, my name is Karen Paul. I'm the proud owner of several small businesses in Harlem, including 2 coffee shops and a bar. Over the past 11 years, my businesses have become neighborhood staples. And so I feel very intertwined with this community. As a small business owner and in the wake of the pandemic, I know how challenging it is to succeed. And, you know, I've been incredibly fortunate to receive the support of this wonderful community, and I've made it a priority to hire locally whenever possible. One of the reasons I support the certified plan for 145 is its commitment to partnering with local community-based organizations and creating jobs. These opportunities will not only benefit those seeking employment, but will also strengthen existing Harlem businesses that are invested in uplifting the community. I fully support this project. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're taking just a quick other pause to figure out the next panel, online panel.
We'll now hear from Leticia Gilmore. Leticia, you may unmute and begin your testimony.
Yes, good afternoon. I was just calling to say that the residents of Drew Hamilton and the TA Association are excited for the project. We are happy to see something happening with the space. We are happy to hear the environmental advantages, the job advantages, and the changes that were addressed to with our concerns. So we are overall still on top and okay with this project happening in Harlem.
Thank you. Next, we will call a user who has not provided a name. They are listed as iPhone. iPhone, if you are available, please press *6 to unmute. We'll now hear from Maggie Nicoli. Maggie Nicoli, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. We'll now hear from Harlem. Harlem, if you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute. We have someone listed as Galaxy S20 FE 5G. If you can hear me, please press *6 to unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Vivian Morgan. New York City has grown tremendously when it comes to population. And because of that, we have less opportunity to find homes and apartments. When we do find the homes and apartments, the rents are so high, most people in our community, especially in Harlem, can't afford them. My daughter and I are professionals working in Harlem. Despite working full-time, my daughter still can't afford to live in Harlem. That is why I support the Enhanced Affordability Plan in Harlem. It creates housing for people like her, middle-income workers, while also helping those in greater need. The inclusion of 100% affordable building is critical. It means opportunity, stability, and the ability to stay in the city we serve. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We'll now hear from Harlem Admin. Harlem Admin, if you can hear me, press *6 to unmute.
Hi. I'm not sure why my name is coming up like that. My name is Sarah Salzberg. I'm writing to, I'm speaking to voice my support for 145. I've been a Harlem resident for over 10 years. I live on 139th and Edgecombe. I have two kids, 9 and 7. I moved when my youngest one was 6 months old. I own a small business on 116 and Harlem. I've owned that business since 2011. And I'm supporting 145 for a bunch of reasons. As a Harlem resident, I'm excited about improvements to the retail landscape. We just need more quality of life services in the area. As a parent, I'm happy to see a project that's being built responsibly with environmental health in mind for our community. My youngest child has asthma. And I know that the air quality in Harlem is historically not been great. I think it's very important that a project of this size is being built responsibly. As others have stated, we're also in a real housing crisis. I think the last thing I read was 1.4% vacancy rate, which is the lowest rate since 1968. This project brings permanently affordable housing to the area that so desperately needs it. And the current state of 145th Street is really a wasteland. There's nothing there. And I see this as an incredible opportunity to create something wonderful that enhances the community in a really significant way. So I'm voicing my full support of this project, and I welcome it to my neighborhood.
Thank you. We'll now call on Mangy, M-A-N-G-Y, on Zoom.
Starts now.
We'll now go to Harlem. Harlem on Zoom.
Time starts now.
Good afternoon, Councilmember Salam. My name is Diana Blackwell. I am a longtime resident of Harlem, and I currently live on the block behind the 145 project site at the Frederick E. Samuel Apartments, NYCHA. That's the RAD complex, where I'm president of the Resident Association. So I am very familiar with the project and what it means for me and my neighbors. I also serve on the Manhattan Solid Waste Advisory Board, where I co-chair the NYCHA Recycling Committee, and I am a board member of the National Low Income Housing Coalition, as well as having served as president of the Police Service Area 6 Community Council, that's the Housing Bureau Police, for over 10 years, over 18 NYCHA developments. My community and civic activism gives me a unique perspective about the challenges we face in Harlem. So while I speak for myself, I am very familiar with the pulse of the neighborhood. And I believe that my perspective is in reflection of what a lot of neighbors think also. Harlem, and in particular my neighborhood, is a wonderful community, but it needs help. We need to help build more new housing. We need help to preserve and fix up the current housing stock. We need to help to create better paying jobs and train our young people for good careers. We need help to attract private capital and investors who are willing to invest their money in Harlem. We need help to improve our public infrastructure. We need to help make Harlem a better place for young families to raise their families, for older folks to enjoy the fruits of their labor, and for everyone in this community to live a better life. My question is, how do we do all that? Well, to start, for this final round, we should consider the future impact on the community, individually and collectively, in the times that we have entered into. I believe that this offer can be restored and we can rebuild our neighborhood, which would benefit us all. For too long, we have relied on the government for help.
Thank you. Time's expired. Thank you so much for your testimony. Okay, we have someone signed on that's under the name iPhone. If that's you, can you please unmute and present your testimony? And we have someone else that is signed on as host LT Act. Can you please unmute and present your testimony as well? Whoever goes first.
Sorry about that.
There you go. Yes, that's you. Can you just state your name for the record, please?
This is Dulcinea Glover, and I am here on behalf of Marquise Harrison, our chair of Community Board 10. Should I just go?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Sure. So CB10 has already submitted a resolution, but we would like to just give a little bit more background about that. A genuine reading of CB10's resolution reveals that the board vote was not an outright no, but a call for stronger commitments to the community. Our role is not to rubber stamp development proposals, but to advocate for responsible, equitable growth that uplifts Harlem's residents. CB10's approach to the 145 proposal was a model of community engagement and leadership. Our team went beyond the standard public hearing process, holding 2 hybrid meetings and an additional virtual-only meeting. We ensured that all voices, whether skeptical or supportive, were heard. The prevailing sentiment in these discussions were largely one of skepticism and opposition, although some community members did express support. CB10 outlined specific, reasonable conditions that would have made this project more equitable and beneficial to Harlem. These included 15,000 square feet of dedicated community space for youth services, flood resiliency measures, and a commitment to equitable affordable housing, ensuring all permanently affordable units are equally distributed across both towers, the one tower and the one that's pending. We also strongly emphasized the need for more permanently affordable units and lower area median income levels to ensure true affordability for Harlem residents. CB10 also insisted on a legally binding community benefits agreement to hold developers accountable, including commitments to fund community initiatives, allocate a percentage of banquet hall revenue toward local programs, and establish clear goals for youth membership programs. Harlem deserves
Time expired. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. If there are any members of the public who wish to testify regarding this rezoning proposal remotely, please press the raise hand button now, or if you're in person, I don't think no one here is in person. All right, so if anyone's online, please use the raise hand function now if you still want to testify on this rezoning proposal. We're going to stand at ease for 30 seconds. If you are on an iPhone, you could press *9 for the raise hand function. We do have somebody just signed up. Just give me 1 second while we get that person's name. Okay. I'm going to ask Heather Huff to please unmute, and you may begin with your presentation. Heather Huff. Okay, we lost Heather. Okay, so if you are unable to testify, you could still submit online testimony to the subcommittee that we will still consider for this rezoning proposal. If there is and you can submit it to land use testimony at council.nyc.gov. There being no other members of the public who wish to testify on the preconsidered LUs relating to the one. Okay. I think Heather is back. Okay, Heather, are you there?
I am. Sorry about that. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Sorry about that. So my name is Heather Huff. I'm writing to express my strong support for the certified plan of 145 development in Harlem, and so glad to be speaking with everyone today. As a Harlem resident, along with my husband and my young son, and someone who works in the neighborhood for about nearly 10 years now, I care deeply for the future of our community. I believe the certified plan for 145 will bring much needed investment to Harlem, particularly through the Economic Investment Initiative, which will empower and support local women and minority owned businesses and really help existing residents build and retain the wealth in the community. Additionally, I'm excited about the restoration and overall revitalization of 145th Street, transforming it hopefully into a brighter and safer and more welcoming corridor where Harlem residents can live and work and shop. And I just wanted to say that I fully support the certified plan of 145 and welcome this project to our neighborhood, which I believe reflects the needs and desires of our community. Thank you so much for letting me speak. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Heather. There being no questions for you, you're excused. And there being no other members of the public who wish to testify on the preconsidered LUs relating to the 145 rezoning proposal for ULIP number C250115ZMM and N250116ZRM, the public hearing is now closed and the items are laid over. That concludes today's business. I would like to thank the members of the public, my colleagues, subcommittee council, land use, and other council staff, and the Sergeant at Arms for participating in today's meeting. This meeting is hereby adjourned. Thank you.